6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
And knocked down again. That was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys are ready for some good old football conversations. Chase, the wait is pretty much over. Training camp, I'm jumping the gun. It officially begins. Player support tomorrow officially begins, Wednesday? But it's training camp week, right? It's been training camp week in the NFL already. Seen some clips of some of our guys, right, former Alabama guys, getting in some action in training camp. But now it's about to begin here in Tuscaloosa, and that's when things really get real. Plus, had a nice little conversation with some of my friends over at the Crimson Tide Sports Network this morning, and going to be doing a little bit more stuff over there on game day. So excited about that. So we got a lot in store coming up for football season, Chase. Of course, we got plenty going on here on the Miller's Edge. We'll be doing breakdowns. We'll be doing previews. We'll be doing our live show, of course, Monday through Friday. All that staying the same. And I've even talked to the pastor of Payne last week, and I think we plan on posting, some, I don't know about daily videos, but some extra content pretty consistently here over on our YouTube channel. So make sure you guys go ahead as you make your way in. Hit that like button, of course. We always urge you to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest of what we've got going on here and, of course, in the college football world. We're going to expand and start growing and talking even more. Of course, Alabama football is going to be the main topic, but dive a little bit deeper into the SEC, all that stuff as the season goes on. Hopefully we can keep doing these breakdowns. I've noticed, Chase, randomly, I don't know what it was, but I guess YouTube has kind of gone back and maybe maybe they see how the Miller's Edge is growing rapidly, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we need to do the second take, man. I saw we got a couple notifications like, hey, you used this clip, I'm like, whoa. Hey, listen, we're just trying to give the people what they want. So we'll keep doing that. Might just have to get a little creative there, but we're going to keep doing our breakdowns, all that good stuff, keeping them coming and fired up to do that. In terms of what we got in store for you today, we got plenty to talk about, and we're actually going to have a guest early. We got Mike Rodak. He's going to be joining us via the phone lines because I want to discuss, I guess, the bombshell that dropped. What was it, Friday, Chase? I think it was, where all of a sudden another injunction, our favorite word now in college athletics, somebody passed something which basically had given all the athletes, not just football, but all student athletes from the 2022 class an extra year of eligibility, right? I mean, right when I thought we were kind of seeing the NCAA reel some things back in, right? If you think about it, we talked with Adam and that whole deal that they tried to go after Tennessee linebacker, that I forgot his name, but he accepted the flight, right? When he was initially going to go out for the draft, came back to school, repaid that whole thing. They said, hey, we're going to suspend you for 2 games. I'm thinking we're seeing a little bit of order come back, right? I heard the SEC and the Big Ten, they finally started to support this Protect College Sports Act all of a sudden, right? I'm thinking we're making progress here, and boom, of course. It's like, and I feel like it's like this in your personal life too, right? You're doing some good, and then something hits you, right, out of nowhere. It's same thing with college athletics, clearly. So that being said, we're going to discuss that with Mike Rodak, kind of what this whole, I guess, injunction, court ruling, whatever you want to classify it as. We're going to discuss what this means because initially, Chase, once word got around that these young men and women were going to receive an extra year of eligibility, we started seeing tweets flying left and right. I'm seeing student athletes, dropping emojis, some of our own former players dropping emojis as if, they're cryptically thinking about, hey, well, what if I could return, which we've always talked about this barrier, right? We've seen it in college basketball, guys going on and playing or at least signing professional contracts, Charles Bediako, countless others, them returning to the sport. We weren't feeling it, right? We didn't really like that whole deal, personally, at least us. I'll speak for us here on the Miller's Edge. And it seemed like we were starting to kind of trend towards that way with the NFL, which we always thought, okay, maybe it kind of happened in college basketball, but there's no way they're going to let this happen with football. At least that's what we thought. Then, of course, this ruling happened over the weekend. And, of course, that's when everything, I don't know, I wouldn't say all hell broke loose, but everybody was like, whoa. What about these guys? We just talked about NFL training camp. It just kicked off. What about the class of 2022 guys that are they just signed on those rosters, right? They're partaking in training camp. What are they supposed to go turn in their iPad and their equipment and head back to their universities? Clearly, it's not going to work like that. And there has been a very pivotal update regarding this injunction ruling that will kind of reel some of it back in. It's going to tighten up on some of it, but still, regardless, it is still a big deal that these guys and women that were, I guess, assuming that their eligibility had been exhausted, now have received an extra year, right? So we're going to talk about that with Mike Rodak because I know he's been following it up closely. I've been seeing the series of tweets he's had. So, of course, why not bring somebody in that has a much better understanding? I've been reading up on it, Chase, but I think sometimes let the folks that have really studied up on it fill us in a little bit. Then we can ask plenty of questions. If you guys have questions, of course, for Mike regarding this new ruling, what it might mean for not just Alabama football, remember Alabama basketball, really all sports, drop them in the chat, of course, on our YouTube stream at The Miller's Edge on YouTube, or you can always hit us up on X. You can watch the show live there as well, and on my personal at Christian Mill R. You can tag us, tweet us, all that good stuff, or on the Tide 100.9 Facebook page. And speaking of Tide 100.9, don't forget about that global app that lets you listen to not just us, but all shows, wherever you're at around the world, right? Just download that Tide 100.9 app. Completely free. Of course, you can watch our stream wherever you're at. But if you prefer radio, always consider doing that. Plus, talk about the Crimson Tide Sports Network. If you want to hear me and my partners over on the network break down some football pre and post game, make sure you guys download that app as well, because that's where you can listen directly to it from wherever you're at as well. All right. That being said, Chase, let's do this. And I got plenty of other things that we're going to talk about today, but I know we've got Mike coming up here in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and take our first break. That way we can get Mike lined up, and we'll ask him about everything that has happened over the weekend with this injunction, what it means for Alabama football and other sports, and if we see it having a big effect on the game, right? We'll talk with Mike about that on the other side. Plus, we'll take your phone calls afterwards, get your thoughts, comments, and concerns. 205-342-9904 is the phone number. Looking forward to diving into some really good conversations today on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. Don't go anywhere.
Build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Find Tide on Twitter at Tide109 to keep up with show announcements, guests, and our reporters in the field.
Into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, where we're going to the phone lines early, where we're joined by Mike Rodak of Bama 24/7, of course, with CBS Sports 24/7 Sports, because we got some bombshell news over the weekend, and I want to talk with somebody who I know knows a lot more about it than myself. Mike, good Monday to you. Welcome in. I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, Mike, listen, I'm always keeping up with your tweets. I know you do a great job following things, college football, college athletics. And over the weekend, Mike, we I think it was Friday, we got a big report that I would consider somewhat of a bombshell, especially as we're heading into training camp. Granted, we'll talk about these details here in a second, but allegedly, somewhere, some way, I guess we had a court order that has now gone back and said, hey, you folks in the 2022 classes, whatever sport that might be, you're granted an extra year of eligibility. And immediately I'm thinking, whoa, I mean, you got a number of football guys. I saw you listed, your list of players from Alabama, football, basketball, that kind of fit into that category. Let's just start with kind of what happened, what transpired, Mike, for the folks that might not know on Friday or over the weekend, that has kind of opened up the door for these athletes to return to college athletics after once thinking that their eligibility had expired.
Right, yeah. I mean, it all kind of goes back to the spring when the NCAA was looking into changing its eligibility rules, because forever it was you had 4 years to play plus a red shirt, so 5 years total. But then there was also a lot of concern about, medical red shirts and guys getting waivers and, guys playing for 6, 7, 8 years. And so they tried to simplify the eligibility rules this spring. And they said, we're just going to give every player 5 years, from their 19th birthday on. And so that rule went into effect in the spring. And there was a lot of questions at the time about, for the fourth-year seniors who just graduated this spring, who would have played 4 years but not had a fifth year, would that new rule apply to them? And so the NCAA at the time, back in the spring, said no. They said, we're not retroactively giving you that fifth year. And so that led to all of these lawsuits over the summer, and a lot of them were on the state court level. It was, a group of 5 players, 10 players, 15 players, and they started winning those lawsuits the last month or so. And so a decent amount of players have become eligible through that. But then there was the federal lawsuit that was filed separately that was a class action that essentially said all of those seniors in every sport who were in their fourth year and exhausted their eligibility this past spring, we're trying to get all of them eligible as part of a class action. And so the judge on Friday afternoon approved that, but she didn't say whether she was approving the request to also suspend roster limits and suspend the transfer portal rules, because like you said, a lot of these guys kind of left college sports under the assumption that they weren't eligible anymore. And so they went to the NBA draft, they went to the NFL, they got a job, whatever it was, and now they have a chance to come back. Well, those teams filled those roster spots, and those players in a lot of cases weren't in the portal. And so now they're kind of stuck. And there was a lot of kind of confusion over the weekend because the judge's ruling on Friday didn't say whether or not they could go into the portal. It didn't say whether or not teams could go above the roster limit. And so the judge over the weekend, a federal judge working on a weekend, had to say, I didn't mean, to open all that stuff up. I was just saying these players are eligible. And so that's kind of where we stand right now, is that entire group of seniors last year, they're eligible. But if there's not a roster spot, if you weren't in the portal, you can't go anywhere. And so it's pretty tricky. And there's also the potential that could get overturned on appeal. And so the NCAA is trying to appeal this, and an appeals court could say you're now not eligible anymore. But there's also state courts and other state lawsuits that a player could try and say, I want to go into the portal. Let me have a state court approve that. And so it's a lot of different things moving in a lot of different directions right now, and a lot of confusion over that. But I guess the good thing for Alabama is that there's a very small number of players that it affects. And so for, football players, guys like Jeremy Bernard, LT Overton, Damani Jackson, yes, they're technically part of it, but all those guys got drafted fairly early. Like, they're not coming back. I think the one player that potentially would make sense is Cam Dewberry. He was an undrafted free agent with the Falcons. As you know, like, you come into the NFL as an undrafted guy, like, it's an uphill battle to make the roster. And so maybe if there's a situation where, he gets cut from the Falcons at the end of this month and he's unemployed and, maybe has a chance to come back to college football, is there a way for him to do that? But he would have to go through a court process and probably sue the NCAA and say, even though I signed a pro contract, make me eligible to come back. And so there's a lot of different obstacles that I think even a player like that would have to go through to make that happen. And that's just on the football side. I mean, we can get into the basketball side too, but I'd say for Alabama, there's such a small number of players that it's probably not as big of a deal as other schools elsewhere.
And Mike, let me ask you this. So like you mentioned if they weren't in the transfer portal, pretty much their only option would be returning to their previous school is what it sounds like. And like you mentioned, maybe having them, I guess, win an appeal if they did sign an NFL roster, which all the football guys did. And to your point, I think Jam he's a late round pick, but I imagine he probably lands on a practice squad at least. Cam Dewberry, that is probably the most, realistic option. I guess I agree with you there. But would this be a situation where maybe, say it's later in the football season where things are still getting ironed out, maybe they try to regain or use that eligibility for the 2027 season? Is that your understanding in terms of kind of where things are at currently?
That's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about that, to be honest, whether they could kind of skip this year and use it for next year. I'm sure there's an attorney somewhere that kind of has that thought. And can maybe make that case. I'm trying to think of what the actual court ruling said. I think it just said you're eligible for this year. But again, everything is up for interpretation legally. Like you can make an argument that you can use it next year. I'm sure an attorney could draft that. So I don't know. There's a lot of different moving parts here. The other thing is if the NCAA loses this appeal to the appeals court and they're losing these state cases and a lot like Ohio, Tennessee, California, there's been a lot of them so far that they've lost. There might just be a point where the NCAA says we're done trying to fight this. We're spending too much money on all these lawsuits, and let's just let all these players be eligible. Let's let them go into the portal. Let's let them go over the roster limit, and let's just stop fighting this battle. That's also a possibility. So there's a lot of things that could happen here.
And so if Alabama was interested in, let's say, another player that did, in fact, enter the portal, I don't even know what the number is right now. I have to try to look into it. Maybe you have a better idea. But say Alabama's, midway through training camp, and they have some injuries piling up. To me, this feels a lot like, the NFL at this point, right? Say some injuries start piling up. Could Alabama then contact one of these guys that has now been granted that extra year of eligibility that was in the transfer portal and then bring them on their roster? Is the path clear for Alabama or any school to do something like that as where it stands right now, Mike?
Yeah, so the interesting part about that, and I've thought about the same thing, is it would be a lot easier if a guy was already in the portal. And that happened a lot in basketball because that season ended in April. This rule was being talked about a lot. I think a lot of players and their agents kind of had the foresight to say, this might happen. You should go into the portal even though you have no eligibility left right now. I don't think that happened as much on the football side, which was in January when that portal was open. So I don't think there's really players that are already in the portal who are now eligible that went into the portal in January. So if you did have a situation where there's a fourth-year senior last year who's now in an NFL training camp, he gets cut, and you want to bring him in, I think he would have to win the ability to go into the transfer portal through a lawsuit, which is quite possible. Again, there's a lot of attorneys working on this, and I'm sure within the next week or two, we're going to see cases filed that are trying to get guys to be able to go into the portal. And if that happens, then maybe there's a broader exception that will be made. So I would say right now it would have to be legal means to accomplish what you're talking about, but that could also change pretty quickly in the next couple weeks.
Now, I've seen a bunch of, tweets, Mike, that have mentioned a lot of guys returning, right? Or I think On3 and other sites, maybe even you guys, 24/7 Sports, have been mentioned, this guy, former, ULM, all conference players exploring a return. Tommy Castellanos, I saw, was exploring a return. Are there any updates on any of those guys, even outside of Alabama, that you've seen that have, in fact, successfully returned to their prior program or have landed somewhere? Are there any updates with this now that today's Monday, maybe this morning, that maybe I've missed that you've seen?
I haven't seen any yet. And I think, a lot of those guys probably are waiting on whether they can go to a different school or not, instead of saying, all right, if I can only go back to my old school right now, do I lock myself into that, or do I see if something changes, the next couple weeks? Like a guy like Castellanos, I'm sure, it wasn't a great season for Florida State last year. Is there somewhere else where he can go? But he would have to get into the portal somehow to do that. And so I haven't really seen anything happen today. But yeah, I think in other sports too, like you have baseball and softball players that, maybe are not as publicized that might be doing that and having the fifth year. But the toughest part for those spring sports is this whole thing might get blown up if this congressional legislation, the Protect College Sports Act, goes through, because then they might not be eligible based on that. And by the time their seasons start in the spring, a lot of that might get passed, and then, they won't have the chance to play. So there's moving parts to this, even beyond kind of the lawsuits. There's also the whole thing about the congressional bill that they're trying to pass, and that will change things for the spring athletes.
I mean, it's just like a ever-going loop, I feel like, Mike, with all these lawsuits and rulings, and then this person's eligible, now they're not, then they file a lawsuit, now they're, this is why I appreciate you guys that cover this extensively, because I can't keep up with it, and I really appreciate you guys. I can maybe even do it a little bit better than myself. Probably not easy to do, but we're joined by Mike Rodak of Bama 24/7, of course, 24/7 Sports. Make sure you guys check out all the good work that he's doing over there. Mike, I want to ask you real quick about the basketball side of things. I know we've been talking majority of football, but as you mentioned, there was probably a number of guys from the basketball side that did, in fact, maybe enter the portal, and this probably seems like the path is a little bit clearer. You did mention Alabama had contacted a former Big Ten center following this federal court ruling. Do you have any updates on that, or can you fill us in on kind of what that might look like? I think I saw you also say that they're at the roster limit. So are we talking a situation where they could potentially cut a player? Like, I mean, this is like professional. I mean, I don't see how it's not.
Right. Yeah, it's getting there. So there's a lot going on there as well. Where you have Jackson Kohler, who's a 7-foot center. He played for Michigan State. He was a pretty good player. I mean, he averaged 12 points, 9 rebounds a game. And he was one of those guys who went into the NBA draft because he thought he was out of eligibility this past spring. He signed a summer league contract with the Utah Jazz, but now he's kind of trying to get back into college basketball because of these rulings. And so he is eligible under the federal class action lawsuit, but he can't go into the portal because that didn't open the door for that. And then it didn't open the door for the roster limit to be exceeded. However, he is part of another lawsuit in California, a state one, that is trying to be able to get him into the portal. So if that gets approved, then he would be able to go into the portal. So then the question is roster limits. And like you said, Alabama, because of the move they made last month to take up the commitment of TJ St. Louis, who's a freshman out of Canada, they are now at the 15-player limit. I guess technically when St. Louis enrolls, which will probably be next week, when classes start. And so that does not allow Alabama to really get anybody right now. And I think over the weekend, because of all that confusion, they thought that maybe they could and that they would be able to go over the roster limit. And his dad, Jackson Kohler's dad, was on Twitter saying that Alabama had reached out. Now that door is a little bit more closed. And so it would take some sort of legal action for that to happen. It would take some sort of NCAA decision that we're just not going to fight the roster limit issue anymore. Or, like you said, would there be a player in the roster? Just the only two that come to mind would be St. Louis or Preston Murphy Jr. that, they could kind of say no thanks to and try to bring in a big name player. Like that, in theory, is something they could do. I don't think it's what they will do. But that option, I think, would exist if they do need to stay under the roster limit.
I could imagine, of course, it's a tough decision, but I think trying to answer that, or answer to that, that could definitely, not look the best in terms of, hey, we just cut a guy right when classes are about to start who anticipated being here. Then who knows where that guy ends up. I mean, and knowing how Alabama is with their PR, I don't think they want that case, but I also know it's a competitive league now. People want to win football games. So I don't know. Maybe we're at that point. Mike, I appreciate you jumping on here and filling us in with all the latest, with all the madness going on. Listen, we got to get you on here more often, man. I don't know what your schedule's like weekly, but I'd love to start getting you on here maybe weekly during football season, start breaking some stuff down. But before we let you go, and I'll contact you afterwards to try to see if we can set that up, let everybody know how they can follow you and keep up with all the good work that you're doing over on 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, definitely could do that. It's Bama247.com and on Twitter at Mike Rodak.
Absolutely, man. Mike, you've been awesome, man. I appreciate it. Look forward to doing some more in the future with you.
You got it. You too. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Good stuff, man. Mike Rodak of Bama 24/7, 24/7 Sports, joined us this morning to give us the latest on this new ruling over the weekend. Pretty much a little bombshell report. But as Mike stated, I mean, there's definitely some barriers still in place that you got to overcome. But we'll have to keep following it and knowing that there's going to be some lawsuits following. We'll have to stay up to date with that. So big thanks to Mr. Mike Rodak joining us here early on the show. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we respond. We keep on rolling on this Monday edition. Got a couple more things we're going to talk about. We'll talk some football talk because got into a little Twitter back and forth over the weekend, trying to break down some football. And I need to talk about that. I want to address it here on the show. We'll do that when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230.
By Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Find adventure, power, and performance today at Tuscaloosa Jeep Dodge Ram.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation,
29. That's 800-923-6829. What do you have to lose? Call 800-923-6829. Again, 800-923-6829.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Some drier air filtering in, lower humidity this afternoon, sunshine, 89, and a northwest breeze. Clear skies, pleasant weather tonight down to 71. Sunny, warmer tomorrow. A late day shower or storm possible. High tomorrow 92, and we reach 94 on Wednesday. Sunshine, hot temperatures in the forecast. Temperatures stay in the mid-90s in the latter half of the week. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Alabama Crimson Tide lives right here. Touchdown, Alabama! On Tide 100.9.
Into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Big thanks to Mike Rodak of Bama 24/7 Sports, who joined us and gave us the latest on everything going on with this new injunction court ruling. Chase, I can't even keep up with the terms and what lawsuit is what. But basically, over the weekend, a judge had ruled that, and like Mike said, it kind of goes back to since they made the rule change, the 5 for 5, right? The 2022, members of the 2022 class deserve that extra year of eligibility. Problem is with football, NFL training camps going on, college training camps are kicking off this week. Some kicked off last week, for example, Stanford, right? They got a week 0 game, so they've already been in training camp. Timing of this whole thing is just all the way off. So, don't know if it has a huge impact. Another thumbnail on the video. Of course, you got to make the fun thumbnails, right? NFL players returning to college football? Probably not, because they did update the ruling, and it was a very important update that pretty much, a couple updates. Number one, if you weren't in the transfer portal, like Mike had mentioned, your only realistic landing spot really would be your former school, unless you then file another lawsuit and try to get that overturned. But then also, I want to say they mentioned if guys signed a professional contract, they would not be able to return. I know that here's this article just to kind of reiterate, because I did see people like Tommy Castellanos, right? Like that was a big deal. Somebody like him, right? Like what team wouldn't, take on somebody like Tommy Castellanos if, say, you have injuries pop up, or say you just like, hey man, we were unsure about our quarterback battle. This guy just was, gifted an extra year of eligibility. I'm sure he would probably take it on and make a little bit of money, go compete. It might end up being a backup. Why would you not want a guy like that as a backup on your roster? But again, I think there's a lot of hurdles here that have to be cleared, and we'll see if that ends up happening. But my question, kind of following up from that, to Mike's point, was that Cam Dewberry feels like the only realistic option, Chase, that we could potentially see trying to make a return, in my opinion, right? Because out of all the former football players that would be eligible, I think all of the guys were draft picks except for Cam Dewberry. And we just know that, making a roster is a little bit tough, especially an uphill battle when you're undrafted. I mean, and there's a lot of guys that do make that roster, but still. And a matter of fact, I want to say Cam Dewberry even tweeted like the hourglass or like the emoji kind of signaling that maybe he's, awaiting a decision or something like that. Chase, did you see that tweet from Cam Dewberry? Is that legit? I think I saw a screenshot of it. I didn't know if it was AI or he actually tweeted. Did you see that by chance? Because I think when I went to his page, it might have been deleted.
I thought it was legit too. And I think he might have deleted it, but I'd have to double check to see. But that's very interesting. He put a clock because, a lot of people give hints on what's going on.
And it clearly was the timing around it. I mean, I think we all can put two and two together and assume that that's kind of what he was signaling, which I want to say he's in training camp with the Falcons currently. That said, my question to you guys, the listeners, whatever platform you guys are listening in on, you can respond with wherever you're listening at. Would you guys be willing to accept somebody like that? We're talking about a very young, inexperienced offensive line, but some people optimistic, given that they think the skill sets might be a little bit better fit. Guys might be a little bit hungry. People are kind of like, hey, man, out with the old, in with the new. We'll just get through the growing pains. But say you did have, let's just specifically use Cam Dewberry for this example, since he's pretty much the only guy I think we realistically could see try to do something like this. Would you guys want Dewberry back? I know I saw some of the comments. And let's be respectful. Again, we're having a fun conversation, but let's be respectful. Let's not go after the guy. I know people are going to have their opinions, but based off of how we played last year. But here's my answer as I get you guys in the chat. I'm scrolling up a little bit. I wouldn't be opposed to it, and here's why. I know people are going to be like, oh, but what about the fits? Oh, the guard play was so bad last year, this, that. I understand all that, but I do know we're very young. And I'm not mad at having a little, experience depth. I'm not saying, you bring a guy like him back and you pencil him in right back in his starting spot at left guard. I don't think so at all. But if you had the ability to bring a guy like that back and let him compete for it again, all right, because you already moved Michael Carroll to right guard. Say he's competing at left guard with guys like Will Sanders, maybe the other gentleman, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. We just talked about him the other day. Anyway, they'll come to me here in a second. I'm all for that, Chase, just because I know offensive line, man. I mean, you can really benefit from experience. I mean, really any position, but offensive line, it really would help. And is he the best fit? Probably not, but I don't know what kind of shape he's in right now. Hell, maybe with him training, trying to make an NFL roster, maybe he's in a little bit different shape. I don't know. But in terms of just like an insurance policy, just having a guy there that has experience, can come in and compete, I would not be opposed to it. Now, I saw a number of you guys. I think Lance said, hey, I would pass on Dewberry. Smitty had said, hey, are we sure he's getting his starting spot back? I say no. I definitely don't think he's getting it back. Fromm says, experienced O-line, no-brainer, which I'm kind of, a little bit more in line with that. I mean, if he's eligible to come back and you have the roster space, again, doesn't mean he's going to start, but why would you not want that backup option, right? I know he was there last year, and then the offensive line play was not good, but I think it helped the room out a little bit just to have his presence there. That's just my opinion on that. Dwight says, nah, Dewberry doesn't fit what DeBoer wants to do. Listen, I mean, to be fair, DeBoer was the one that brought him in, right? Which, is he the best fit for maybe some of the pin and pull stuff? No, but they also run some gap scheme, right? It's not like they only do pin and pull. He might, you know what I mean? So sometimes, like, you're going to, not sometimes, a lot of times, not every player is going to just have every perfect attribute, right? I mean, sometimes and often they'll be skilled in one area and they'll struggle somewhere else. They'll have a strength here, a weakness there. So I will say this. Was Dewberry a great fit? Not really. However, they did recruit him via the transfer portal. He wasn't like a Saban guy. He was a DeBoer guy. So they clearly thought that he could at least get by with what they wanted to do. So even though I don't think he was the best fit, the staff clearly thought he was capable of doing what they needed him to do, or else I don't think they would have brought him in here. You know, it's the same thing with, like, there's a guy or two in this transfer portal class on the offensive line that I don't feel like 100% fit exactly kind of what we feel like DeBoer's, you know, I guess prototypical offensive lineman would be. But you just have to remember, I mean, some guys, they might have a little bit of a weakness, but they're going to have strengths in other categories. So, I mean, I would at least just throw that out there. Lance said, I might take Deontay back. He may be better now. If you're talking about Deontay Lawson, I don't think he applies here. But say he did, though, hypothetically speaking, that would be an interesting one. For leadership ability, then maybe he's healthier. Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely would consider something like that. I'd probably feel a little bit better about pairing him up with Caleb Woodson, right? You'd have two veterans in the middle right there. Probably would make me feel. I was talking about the linebackers yesterday. I mean, and then there's just so many question marks, you know. I mean, the reality is, I mean, there's a good chance that, you know, there's going to be a little bit of a step back at that position, or at least, you know, we expect there to be some. But I'm just, I guess, cautiously optimistic that, I don't know, maybe some of these young, hungry guys can really step up and provide some good value right there. So that was an interesting one. Unfortunately, I don't think he applies here. So don't really make a huge difference there. But we'll have to stay up to date with all this because there's plenty more coming, I'm sure, in the near future. Probably over the next couple of weeks, we'll hear even more about lawsuits and updates and all that. So we'll stay up to date with that and, of course, keep you guys updated. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Monday edition. Want to hear from you guys, 205-342-9904. I think we got a phone call. Yep, we do. From Wayne. We'll get to that. Plus, we got to talk about this whole Twitter, I guess, conversation we had yesterday, talking about former defensive coordinator Pete Golden, man. You're wondering why we're talking about him? Well, because everybody, for some reason, loves to keep Pete Golding in their mouth still. I don't know why, but we'll talk about that and more coming up right here on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230.
Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 28 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-7503.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9149 for your free estimate today. That's 205-393-9149. Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are
and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Accounts subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, the week has finally arrived. The longest off-season, but 213 days ago, Alabama lost to Indiana. We can finally put that behind us. We'll do that with Drew DeArmond. We'll do that with Martin Houston. And we'll talk to Dave Bartun from CFBMatrix.com as we get you ready for Alabama's first practice. Training camp starts this week right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Some drier air filtering in, lower humidity this afternoon, sunshine, 89, and a northwest breeze. Clear skies, pleasant weather tonight down to 71. Sunny, warmer tomorrow. A late day shower or storm possible. High tomorrow 92, and we reach 94 on Wednesday. Sunshine, high temperatures in the forecast. Temperatures stay in the mid-90s in the latter half of the week. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
This Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Wayne up next. Wayne, welcome in.
Hi, thank you, Christian. This is Wayne from Northport. I've called in before, but it's been about a year since I talked to you. I have a lot going on around this time of day, so I don't always get a chance to call in or listen, but good to talk to you, my friend.
Absolutely, yeah. I hope everything's been well for you. I'm glad you got to call in today, Wayne.
Yeah, I'm ready for football season, man. It's that time.
Amen. That makes two of us.
Refresh my memory. You were here 3 or 4 years.
Add another one. I was here 5. I did the long haul. I had the life sentence. So I'm kidding, but yeah, I was here 5 years.
You was here 5 years. What were your years? Start to finish.
2014 through 2018.
Yeah, okay. So you got your ring. Good deal.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Got 2 of them.
15, but I wasn't sure.
Yes, sir.
16, but we had to run too many plays on defense.
You're right about that. I want to say that was our highest snap count on defense, like the whole season. That second half, once what was it, Bo, I think, had broke his leg. I feel like we
Bo broke his leg, and that changed that game completely. People forget about that. They talk about our third down conversion rate, but Bo broke his. Wasn't it in the end of the first half, early second half, he broke his leg?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when. It was either, I think, early. I think it was either maybe second quarter. I want to say, I can't remember, but I just know that had an impact. And then, we were up. I can't remember how much we were up by, but we were rolling, right? I mean, we had a solid first half, but that second half, we had a lot of 3-and-outs. Defense was on the field. We had a lot of long drives defensively, and you could just tell, we started getting gassed out on defense, and then we had a few penalties on that last drive. There's one on the kickoff, gave them good field position. We had a pass interference penalty, and they just quickly kind of just marched down the field. And we all know that pick play happened at the end. But even before, there was another play that was huge in that game. It was when Ryan Anderson had scooped up. Shout out to my guy Ryan, man. Matter of fact, he's looking for a place to hog hunt. And if any of our listeners have land to hog hunt, Ryan was asking me about it, so I wanted to put a little signal out there on the show. He scooped up that fumble, and he was. I mean, it looked like he was about to just return it. Quick 6 points. But Hunter Renfrow, man, not only did he have that game-winning touchdown, but he also had that really game-saving tackle. He tackled Ryan. And I think if we scored right there with Ryan, I feel like we would have won that football game. But Hunter Renfrow came out of nowhere and took his knees out, man. It's just little details.
That game was tough, and we came a lot closer to winning it than most people realize.
Yeah, it was tough, but it's part of it. A little bit of a heavyweight, I guess, series, right? With Alabama and Clemson through the years, they got their 2. We got our 2. So
we got our 6. So that's pretty good over the years.
Yeah. If you count all that, yeah, you're right about that.
Hey, Christian, I'm an old man. I'm 53.
No, you're young, man. That ain't old.
That ain't old, but it's older than you.
I'm getting close. Listen, I just hit 30, and I can tell you right now, I feel like I can't even sweep and mop around my house without my back starting to tighten up. I'm like, man, I thought 30 was just a number. Maybe there is something to it, but no, you're still young, Wayne.
I'm in a wheelchair myself, so I know about body ache.
Oh man, well, I'm hoping you're able to still kind of. Are you able to get to some football games every now and then?
No, because my family, when the NIL era kicked in, it got above our budget. If you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Man, well, you know what, Wayne? Listen, hopefully, I mean, if I come across some tickets, you'll be the first person I'll think of. But if our radio station ever is doing a giveaway, best believe I'm gonna enter you in there, and hopefully we can get you something. Man, I would love for you to be able to try to get back out there to a game. What's that?
I'm in a wheelchair, so I need ADA seating.
That's okay. Listen, brother. There is plenty of people that need that type of assistance. That is no problem. I'm sure they would accommodate you. No problem at all, man. Don't let that hold you back, Wayne.
Hey, man, I won't. But my budget kind of holds me back from going. But anyway.
Well, we need to change that. Hopefully, we can try to come up with something. If anything comes across my desk, I'll be the first one to try to get a hold of you, Wayne. Wayne from Northport. Do this. Leave your contact with Chase before you go. And we'll just keep it in the station in the studio. That way, if anything comes up, you'll be the first person I call.
Ryan's got my stuff.
Does he have your number and stuff?
Yeah, Ryan and the afternoon crew, they have my number.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll make sure I get it from them. If anything comes up, Wayne, we'll try to. Do you have transportation to this? Like, could you get to the stadium?
I can't go to games as much as I used to. Don't worry about it. But I appreciate the offer anyway. But I'll be watching, and I'm ready.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, here's this. Here's this. If you're not making it to the game, of course, the radio crew. I'm sure you probably watch the games, of course, but radio crew does a great job. And if you're ever looking for pregame and postgame analysis, I've got you covered. I'm doing all those shows on the network as well. So if you can't make the game, I'll make sure I'm giving you all the details possible on everything. And of course on this show as well.
Yeah, I'm a graduate. I graduated the university in '96.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Love that, man.
Do we report on Wednesday and practice on Thursday, or report day tomorrow and practice on Wednesday?
Yep. So report day tomorrow, and then they'll practice on Wednesday, and then I think we'll hear from Coach DeBoer on Wednesday, and then get this, guys. I think practice will be open on Thursday for the media, like the pre-practice period. So you guys will get to get those clips, those practice clips on Thursday, right? They'll be coming out Thursday with everybody at practice for those initial periods. So
I got a journalism degree. I don't have an active job, but I've got a journalism degree. So I follow them in the media all the time. We'll see you, buddy.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Wayne. Thank you so much for calling. Great to hear from you.
Great to hear from you, man. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Take care. Great stuff, man. Always warms my heart, man, getting just to talk with genuine people like that, man. Hopefully we can get Wayne to a football game, though. I want to make that happen. As long as if he can get there, man, I'm sure we can get him accommodated. All right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. We got some football to talk about over some tweets from the weekend. Plus, we got to keep diving into some Alabama football talk. It's training camp week, Chase. We got to turn it up a little bit. We'll do that when we come back right here on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
Major League Baseball's trade deadline is Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The Cubs got veteran pitcher Kevin Gausman from Toronto. The Rays acquired pitcher Freddie Peralta from the Mets. And the Yankees picked up infielder Luis Garcia from the Nationals, who had 23 homers and 76 RBIs this year. The Yankees won 2-1 at the Cubs. The White Sox were 9-1 winners at Tampa Bay. Victories for Seattle and San Diego. Detroit shut out the A's 11-0. Braves won their fifth straight. Houston won their sixth in a row. The Angels, with the worst record in the majors, shut out Milwaukee, which has the best mark in the majors, 3-0. Boston took the Sunday night game 8-4 at the Dodgers. The Red Sox have won 5 in a row. The Houston Texans signed veteran defensive end Jadeveon Clowney. Saints wide receiver Jalen Polk retired. Jessica Pegula leads the final of tennis's D.C. Open after rain. It'll finish Monday.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy, founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases, known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, the week has finally arrived. The longest off-season for 213 days ago, Alabama lost to Indiana. We can finally put that behind us. We'll do that with Drew DeArmond. We'll do that with Martin Houston. And we'll talk to Dave Bartu from CFBMatrix.com as we get you ready for Alabama's first practice. Training camp starts this week right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app. It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC.
into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're talking about the latest injunction ruling that, I guess, gave some more eligibility back, Chase. What do you know, right? Eligibility here. You get eligibility. You get eligibility. It's like Oprah's giving it out these days. Well, we found out that, young men and women from the class of 2022, due to the 5-for-5 rule, have now been granted that fifth year of eligibility, leading to a number of players online announcing that they will be exploring, keyword exploring, the option to return to college athletics. With football season right around the corner, that's what got these questions really turning. That's why I got the video titled the way it is. Could NFL be players returning to college football? We've seen professional basketball players do it, but NFL, no, we hadn't seen that yet, to my knowledge. Could we see that soon? We spoke with Mike Rodak of Bama 24/7 Sports early on in the show. Really great stuff. If you guys missed that, rewind it a little bit so you can go back and listen to that interview. He broke it all down for us. As of now, that will not be the case. However, like Mike mentioned, would not be shocked if there is a guy that, participates or has participated briefly, whether it was an NFL offseason program, maybe a little bit of training camp, and then is trying to make his way or their way back to college athletics. So we'll stay up to date on that, but been having that conversation. Now we're going to talk a little bit more Alabama football since, again, training camp officially kicks off this week. Tomorrow is report day, and I can break that down and go into Wednesday is the first practice. We know what that looks like. But what is report day, right? I know you guys probably already know, but if you don't, report day is when you show up and it's just like that. It's almost like you have syllabus week in school. Report day is like syllabus day, but for football, right? You show up, you get your binders, you get all your stuff, you get all your quote unquote equipment. It's like the official start to everything. It's kind of laying the table. You'll have meetings that day. You might have a workout scheduled. But other than that, there's no practice, just kind of gearing up for the following day when you will practice, going over the schedule, right? What time practice is going to be, what time curfew is, when you're expected to eat periodically throughout the day, workout schedules. It's just one of those things, probably doing some little bit of not testing on equipment stuff, but just making sure everything's all good to go. You had it from, the spring, but you got to remember some guys might have had, some body changes, might be bigger, might be smaller, just making sure all your equipment and everything's good to go, all that stuff. So that will take place tomorrow, right? That is report day. All those things will be going on throughout the day. And then, of course, Wednesday, they officially open up practice, and we will hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer right around 11:15 or 11:20, sometimes a few minutes later, which will be live during that time. So we will listen to Coach DeBoer's press conference following the first practice tomorrow, live here on our show. So if you guys want to tune into that, come back tomorrow, right around 11:20 or so. We'll be broadcasting Kalen DeBoer's press conference, first one fall training camp, live here on the show. That said, Chase, let me mention this whole Twitter thing that it popped up. So talking some football, right? I love talking ball. I was just scrolling Twitter, now known as X. And, of course, things just pop up. They always recommend things. It is what it is. So I had noticed there had been this clip of Will Anderson going through he was basically doing some indie drills at the Texans training camp. And we all know, man, the dude is an incredible athlete, all right? When you just watch the guy move, I mean, it's impressive because he's so explosive. Now seeing this body transformation that he's had, I mean, he's always, been very, I guess, he's been built great. It's not like he just all of a sudden put on all this extra weight, but you've seen his body mature now that he's spent, several seasons in the NFL, and he's still every bit of explosive, but he's going through this drill. They're working a counter inside. He's working that cross chop or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I saw it. Somebody had tweeted it or quote tweeted, and it wasn't the first time I saw this, right? With that whole narrative that, why did we drop Will Anderson on third down, right? That whole thing that we've seen for forever, right? Everybody always brings this up. It's like, man, we dropped this guy into pass coverage on third down. And so, sorry to Chris Marler, I think his name is. I wanted me trying to single the guy out because I've seen multiple people say this same thing. But I just saw this was the most recent one I saw, and I'm like, oh God, here we go again. Like this whole narrative of the Pete Golden dropping Will Anderson on third down. He's such an idiot. Why would he ever do that? And so I just wanted to clarify, because, again, I call this a false narrative because in reality, and I even went back, what's crazy, I went back and watched the whole Tennessee game from 2022. I counted Will dropping in coverage one time. I maybe could have missed something about this, didn't pay close enough attention, but I counted him dropping in coverage like one time. I even threw in an extra one just to be safe. Let's say it was two. That's actually like less than normal for an edge or outside backer to do. So I'm like, the whole narrative is just, I think people are thinking about like several moments, Chase, right? Where they saw him drop in coverage and it's just like, oh my God, what are we doing? He's the best pass rusher in the country. Why would you ever drop him? So I just want to explain this a little bit. So this was the tweet I responded with. I said, Bama fans have to stop this false narrative. Will played outside linebacker, which has coverage responsibility at times. He only occasionally dropped in passing situations with calls like simulated pressures, fire zones, or to peel, all totally normal. This is why we do breakdowns, right? And what I meant by that was, number one, just that, but also this is why I like doing breakdowns. It's not to like try to act like I'm the smartest guy in the room, but more so I like teaching the game of football because a lot of times people don't necessarily understand the whys in football, which I totally get, right? I mean, football is a very complicated thing. Like it's way beyond what you might learn growing up playing football, even high school football, like the depths to football and the reasons and the way the game has changed and just so many things. I mean, not many people really understand it, right? I mean, luckily, if you played at a high level, you kind of lived it, so you had to learn it. But outside of that, most people don't. So the breakdown just allowed me to kind of use our platform to help teach and explain some of these things. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make here with this, Chase, is the whole narrative that Pete Golden was an idiot for dropping Will Anderson in coverage, it's not true. Because here's the thing. You run your system. You run your scheme. You want to put your guys in the best position possible. But I think people just think that you can just like handpick guys like you're playing a video game, you know, you click Y or triangle and give them like a, you know, independent responsibility. That's not how real football works, right? There's a whole system and there's a whole scheme. So when you make a call, whoever are playing these positions, it is their responsibility to act within the call. Now, could you argue that, hey, well, maybe don't call those calls as much if you know it's going to put him in that position? That's a fair debate. But here's the problem. Like, you're not going to sit there and totally change your whole system just because you're like, hey, we want this guy rushing all the time. And there actually are benefits to doing things like dropping him in coverage. What do I mean by that? Well, if he is the best pass rusher in college football, where do you think all the attention is going to be on passing situations? If you guessed Will Anderson, you would be correct. Everybody's going to be focused on Will Anderson. So what does that mean? If you're running simulated pressures, what's a simulated pressure? Let me backtrack. That's basically where you're showing pressure, but you still end up only rushing 4. You see Oklahoma running a lot. Kirby Smart loves them. Again, it's part of the system, right? You'll see people showing cover 0 looks, right, where you got 7 guys crowded on the line of scrimmage, no safety over the top. It looks like straight man. And then you'll see 3 guys pop out. You'll see 3 of those guys rush. And then one of the guys, it looked like he was in coverage. He's coming. Like, it's a way to confuse offenses and really just, I guess, add a whole nother depth to, I guess, getting after and generating pressure. So there are benefits to doing that occasionally. Now, do you want to have a guy like Will Anderson dropping all the time? No. But statistically, and I try to do my best to find this, I don't think he dropped at some, like, ultra high rate compared to anybody else. Right? I know somebody mentioned like Tim Williams. Tim Williams dropped in coverage too. And the other part that I wanted to explain, if you really want to get into the depths of positions and things like this, in our system, we ran up because someone asked another good question. They asked, you know, why did he play outside linebacker in college, but he plays defensive end in the NFL? Really good question. Here's, I'll try to water this down. It's because of our system, right? Coach Saban had a base 3-4 defensive system, right? 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, 2 outside linebackers, 2 inside linebackers. We had a Sam and a Jack. The Sam would be responsible for much more pass coverage, right? The Sam is what I played, right? So you're lining up in a 9 technique on tight ends. You're going to be dropping in coverage a lot more. The Jack almost serves as that 4th down lineman, right? He can stand up. He is an outside linebacker, but he's going to be more responsible for rushing the quarterback. When they were in base, Will was always the jack number one. So they always had him as the more true defensive end between the two outside linebackers. Dallas Turner was the Sam, hence why you saw Dallas Turner actually drop in coverage a lot. If you want to talk about Dallas Turner, he dropped in coverage a good bit. Will, not so much. Now, the reality is, and this is why I had the whole debate about when we hired Kane Womack, and everybody was complaining about the 4-2-5, and I said, everybody pump your brakes. Everyone runs a 4-2-5. 4-2-5 just means nickel, right? You match personnel with personnel, and nowadays all college offense, they pretty much run 11, which is blue, right? Which is one tight end, one running back, which means you got to match personnel. You don't want to be in regular base personnel against that. Why? Because then you have mismatches like a 250-pound outside linebacker lined up on slot receivers. Let me ask you guys a question. Whether you know football or not, I think you can answer this. Do you want a 250-pound linebacker lined up in the slot on Lancia Brooks? No. If you're the if you're the offense, you do. But as a defense, you don't want those problems. So that said, right, Chase? I mean, it's common sense. So we play nickel like 90% of the time. Now, even though we were in nickel, our defense evolved where we still operated with two edge players. The way it used to work was before offenses really started to adapt and you started to see much more air raid and pass-happy offenses, especially in the SEC, was that we used to say, all right, the Sam, which was me, you come out of the game, I would be replaced with a star, which is a nickel corner, and basically he would be playing my position, but he's a much better matchup to play in the slot, right? That's why you're adding an extra cornerback. And we would leave one outside linebacker in who would serve as what we call the jack. So even though we were nickel, we didn't necessarily just go, okay, now we're playing only 4 down fronts. We still would basically play a 3-4 philosophy, but out of nickel. It's just the star was now acting as a Sam. That jack still serves as an outside linebacker / defensive end. If we played mint 4 mod, which is our base call, that's just cover 4 quarters. But the jack would be in coverage responsibility unless we would have adjustments like a share rush, which means you're a vertical rusher unless you get a fast 3 from the back, then you got to peel him. That's what peel means. Think of a banana peel. If the back crosses your face, you're going to peel out and you're going to take him, right? Like you got him man to man, and then you have somebody replace you as a contained rusher. All that being said, to take it a step further, they started playing with what we would call rabbit personnel, which is 2 edge players, right? Because we were seeing a lot more dual threat quarterback, a lot more 11 personnel spread, all that good stuff. So Will actually then was serving as basically a true strong side defensive end. Think Byron Young, think like Jonathan Allen. Will Anderson at like 245 pounds was pretty much playing their position, which he was in like a 4-eye technique a lot of the time. Like, shoot, I mean, a large number of snaps. So the reason I'm saying this is that reason alone, I know for a fact he wasn't even dropping much because I didn't even like that for him because that's not where he's supposed to be playing at. They played him there because they didn't have to audible, right? Because you could just leave 2 outside backers in the game. He was just as good as any other bigger defensive end that you would sub in anyway. So just leave him in there, kick him to a 4-eye when you're playing mint or tight fronts, 4-eye, 0, 4-eye, and then Dallas serves as the jack. Meaning Dallas was the one always dropping, even in nickel. Will was basically playing defensive end / like strong side defensive end, a 4-eye more than he would even be dropping. So to circle back to the original point, because I know I'm probably lost a bunch of people with this. This is probably going over a lot of people's heads. That's totally fine. I'll break it down on paper some other time. When people make the comment like, oh, imagine dropping Will Anderson on 3rd down, not only is it wrong, but it just shows that you don't really know what you're talking about, which is totally fine. But if you're going to try to take like shots or make slick remarks at like coaches and act like you know more than they do, just please make sure you know what you're talking about. Because if not, you just end up looking dumb. So I hate to say it like that, but I don't know, lack of a better word. So I apologize to the Chris Marler guy. I wasn't trying to have our listeners, attack him and call him a clown. Like I I don't condone that. Like I said, I wasn't even trying to really be rude. It's just, I saw that like one too many times. And unfortunately, he was the last one I saw, and I just had to respond to it. But hopefully he kind of learns from it. And he tried to say I was overreacting. I'm like, no, I'm not overreacting. I'm like, you said what you said. Because he said like, oh, well, the narrative, if it's not a narrative, it happened. Which I respond to him, well, of course it happened. At the end of the day, Wills technically still was an outside linebacker edge. All those things are completely normal, right? Now, if you're talking about like a true 4-3 defense and you have true defensive ends, you're talking about like kind of like what Will's playing now, the Texans, guys like Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, like they're more like true defensive ends. They're playing wide 9 techniques, which that's what Will should be playing because he can just go. He's not worried about being on the inside shade of a tackle as a 4-eye. He don't need to be there, right? That you're wasting a lot of his responsibility. If anything, to me, that was more of the issue than him ever even dropping in coverage, was that we had him playing so much 4-eye. There's not much room to work. You're like, I wish I could draw. I'll draw it on the screen here during the break. You're operating from the inside shade of the tackle. Imagine, guys, just like visualize this. To pass rush, if you're a contained rusher, but you're lined up inside the tackle, now you have to convert outside. You don't have you can have a great get off, but think about your angle. Your rush angle is terrible. All you can really do is power rush, and you're already at a size disadvantage. So that really was the bigger issue. Like if they played Will like a true wide 9, like he plays like right now, his pass rush production would have been a lot better. But because he was helping the team out by playing more of that strong side defensive end role, which was the 4-eye, his pass rush numbers took a hit. It was not so much because he was dropping. He didn't drop an absurd amount of times. In fact, it was very normal. What it really was he was kicking inside much more than he did the year prior to help the team out. Didn't have to audible as much. He was effective inside, but unfortunately, your pass rush takes a hit. So hopefully I explained some of that. I know that was a lot. I think you guys enjoy that kind of football talk. If there's any questions, just please ask. I'll clarify. But we got to hit timeout, and I'll do that during the break. And we'll keep on rolling. We'll go back to the phone lines right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. I'm going to catch my breath.
Win for you. Call 800-8000 or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393.
Stop by on Skyland Boulevard. Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. For those who know the difference. Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com. Mercedes-of-Tuscaloosa.com.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
Stop. Aleve will keep you moving. From sunup to sundown, Aleve's got your back this summer. Feel Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors
who are shaping the next generation of legends.
We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing
victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Some drier air filtering in, lower humidity this afternoon, sunshine, 89, and a northwest breeze. Clear skies, pleasant weather tonight down to 71. Sunny, warmer tomorrow. A late day shower or storm possible. High tomorrow 92, and we reach 94 on Wednesday. Sunshine, hot temperatures in the forecast. Temperatures stay in the mid-90s in the latter half of the week. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Stay up to date with the Crimson Tide. Local high school sports and Bama in the pros right here on Tide 100.9.
Into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're about to get to the phone lines, but let's do this, Chase, because I know we got to catch up. We only got a few minutes. We'll talk for 2 minutes, go to a break, and then we'll bring back Smitty on the lines when we come back and let him have plenty of time to discuss what he wants to discuss. And then while we got some time, big shout out to our friends over at Lamprey Law Education Advocacy. We were talking earlier about the new ruling, the court injunction, right, that is going to allow athletes from the class 2022 to have that fifth-year eligibility. That's why you got some reliable representation, right? These athletes, they might need somebody like Adam from Lamprey Law. That's why you guys need to have somebody like Adam in your back pocket. Make sure that you contact them, lamprello-law.com, for all your representation needs. Not only that, it's criminal defense matters, of course, NIL, academic misconduct, but even on top of that, services like academic and career planning, subject matter mastery, exam and test taking preparation, they've got you covered. And not only do they do that in a first-class manner, but for an affordable rate. And Adam's going to make sure he takes great care of you guys. So make sure you guys check them out today, lamprello-law.com. Again, that's Lamprello Law, the official representation here on the Miller's Edge. All right. Let's see what else we got on our bookmark so we can hit real quick. All right. I don't think we have enough time to discuss this, Chase, but this is J.D. Piquel's college football playoff projection. 12-team college football playoff projection. I see a couple SEC teams. I see Georgia. I see Texas. I see LSU. I see a few. I see Oklahoma. I don't see Alabama, Chase. So it looks like J.D. Piquel is currently not predicting Alabama to make the 12-team college football playoff. He does have two of their opponents, because they do play Georgia, they play LSU. They do not have Oklahoma on the regular season schedule, nor do they have Texas on the regular season schedule. Chase, before we hit this break real quick, your thoughts on that? Is that a shocker? I feel like J.D. Piquel has kind of been in this realm, I guess, this offseason, right? He's kind of mentioned that he's a little unsure on Alabama. So I guess we're not really shocked with that. But he does have Georgia facing Oregon in the national championship game, which would, in fact, end the drought, which has been, 3 years on now, that the SEC has not provided any team in the national championship game. Not just not a winner, but literally not any team from the SEC being in the college football national championship. Anything that stands out here, Chase, for you at all?
Honestly, looking at the graphic on your stream, I think the biggest one would be Ohio State losing to OU. I don't understand any of that. What does OU do well that Ohio State doesn't do 10 times better? And I don't work for them or anything, but what Ohio State has done the past couple of years is phenomenal. They've been consistent. They've been a champion. You have a quarterback like John Mateer who, he's come back from an injury. He's trying to get back on it, but Ohio State has proven it. And I would love to see Oregon versus Ohio State, honestly. I think that would be probably a more watchable matchup than you have OU and Oregon. I think another one I saw was Texas and SC. I don't really believe in Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley has gotten my hopes up too many times, Christian, when it comes to his teams and the amount of bravado and we're this, we're that, we're going to do this. All the reporters saying, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts, it never amounted to what the media put them up to. Or even when Lincoln talked in the press conference, I just don't really believe that SC is that type of team to make it to the playoffs, let alone be with Texas. So that's kind of the observations I have.
Yeah, well, I'll say this about OU. I'm higher on them than some. I think their defense is killer. Love Coach Brent Venables and what he's building over there. Jim Nagy, shout out to Jim Nagy, man. Personal friend of mine. He was running the Senior Bowl for years. Got to know him really well from that. Great guy, man. Now he's serving as the general manager at Oklahoma. They have a good football team. They struggle with the run game, offensive line, similar to Alabama last year. They made it to the playoffs. They beat us in the regular season in Tuscaloosa. You mentioned John Mateer. I think he's back healthier. Just listening to him speak, I feel like he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder, right? Didn't really live up to those expectations last year. So I do understand your point. Just to see Ohio State lose to Oklahoma is kind of like, whoa. I mean, but Ohio State's got a good defense. Ohio State also has an offense that is going to have some playmakers on the outside. They got a quarterback returning who was very consistent a year ago. I mean, he struggled a little bit in some of those games where he was facing some pressure, which, I think pretty much any quarterback would, but he's returning another year under his belt. I don't know if I'd see Ohio State losing Oklahoma, but I think it would make for a good football game knowing OU's defense. But what stands out to me, Chase, I would say Texas Tech at 5. Somebody mentioned that in the chat. Texas Tech is a good football team, but having them as high as 5, given everything, their quarterback's coming off an injury. They had Sorsby, that whole situation. Maybe, right? Maybe schedule kind of helps boost them in that direction. Southern Cal, I don't think I'm buying them at making an 8 seed. Personally, I don't think I'm buying that one. Indiana's a 10 seed on there. Let's see anything else that stands out here. But yeah, he's got Oregon beating Georgia in the national championship game. That game itself would be pretty cool because you'd have Dan Lanning facing his former team in Georgia. Remember, he served as defensive coordinator. So that'd be kind of an interesting dynamic, the clash of teacher versus apprentice, right? Teacher versus student. We'll have to see. Now, I realize Alabama's not on there. I don't think it's a shocker necessarily. For him, it's not a shocker because he's already expressed he's a little unsure on Alabama, right? Not writing Alabama off. He's just unsure. There's question marks. Totally understand that. And if we're being honest, a lot of people are kind of predicting that 9-3 realm for Alabama, which I don't believe currently a 9-win team has made the college football playoffs. That's kind of in line with what many people have been predicting. Not saying that happens. Again, I think personally, I just feel like the ceiling feels like 10-2. Not saying it couldn't be 11-1. If you want to say, to me, I think 11-1 is not impossible for us this year, but it feels like everything would have to go right. Everything will pretty much just have to fall in our favor, Chase. And I just know that's just not really how things work. So I feel like the ceiling is more 10-2, which would have us as a playoff team. I think the floor feels around 8-4, and that's why I feel like settling around 9-3. Hopefully we land on the side of 10-2, but that's kind of where not just myself, I feel like almost everybody I've listened to from SEC media days, even before then, kind of fall in that same kind of category right now, preseason-wise. Good news is training camp kicks off tomorrow, really Wednesday, first practice. And we'll start getting some glimpses at some of these potential answers. Of course, the real answers will come during the season, but of course, we can kind of get our eyes on things, kind of get the conversation going and start trying to inch closer and closer as the season quickly is upon us. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We got Smitty on the phone lines. We got Ellis lined up. We'll go to you guys and keep the conversation rolling right here on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next.
There are treasures you'll endure for years to come.
Check out our collection of officially licensed Alabama jewelry in store or online at hudsonpool.com.
And roll Tide.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy. Proud partner. Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rental. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-29.
That's 800-923-6829. What do you have to lose? Call 800-923-6829. Again, 800-923-6829.
24/7, 365. We've got all your coverage of the Crimson Tide on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Straight to the phone lines we go. We got Smitty up next. Smitty, welcome in. Smitty, you with us?
Yep.
There he is. What's up, Smitty?
All right, there we go. Yeah, had to take that, had to take this work call real quick, Still trying to find an agent like Chase has given that Roman Reigns schedule, man. Man. Chase made more money off us
last night. Hey, what do you think about Roman's match last night? I thought it was good. Him and Seth, man. Good storytelling, false finish.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
It was good, and and shout out to Ova as well. Alabama's on. I had fun this weekend just watching it. Cause you know me, I don't look at stuff that deep,
Yeah.
By the way, how was your weekend, good brother?
Man, can't complain. Me and Chase actually watched SummerSlam. We had a good time, man. We watched some SummerSlam. We watched night one and kicked it and cleaned up all day. Got to see my nephew yesterday while he was in town, and got me one of the. I kind of want me a little kid now, man. I feel like I need me a little me running around, man. Start training him doing some drills. Now I'm not gonna let my kid play football till he's older, probably like middle school, man.
Yeah.
Take care of his body, but. Yeah, man, he's getting big, man. Looks like a little man running around now. He's only like 18 months, so it's cool, man. So I had a good weekend. I appreciate you asking.
Hey, I thought I wanted a kid. So I took all three of my nephews to the movies one time. I'm like, screw this. Just saying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, but y'all talk this whole ruling thing. Here's the thing. This stuff should have been announced soon as that 5 for 5 passed. Should have been done then. But at the same time, with someone like Cam Dewberry, I have to say I'm sorry. We had guys that have been playing here, even if he's a backup, we had guys stay here since the spring, And I would just say, hey, just hope you find a spot in the NFL, even on a practice squad. I just got to roll with the guys who've been here already, even they're the backups. And it's nothing bad against him, but we just got to roll,
No, I agree.
Yeah, because that would be a bad look at the locker room also. Hey, it didn't work out for me, this undrafted thing. And there are plenty of undrafted guys in the NFL that keep trucking and they make the league and have decent careers. I just think that sometimes you got to move on. And sometimes you were born the wrong year. I'm sorry. It's time to move on. You got your degree, move on. And how much NIL are you really getting? Because these teams' rosters are already set already, too.
Well, think about this, Ars. Let me ask you, if you have a team that you're unproven at quarterback, you got a couple guys competing, but you're not really too sure, and you see a guy like Castellanos there, and he ends up getting, I guess, approved. He wins some appeal or whatever would be necessary for him to then join your football team. Would you turn a guy like that down? A guy that can be a little bit of an electric football player. He's played big-time college football, and he's probably looking for a home. Say he's willing to take, a deal that's relatively small. Would you take a chance on a guy like that? At worst, you got a veteran quarterback in your room. You wouldn't do that?
No, because here's the thing. I want him back on Florida State. Hey, here's the thing. I want him back on Florida State for obvious reasons. So I hope he gets back for obvious reasons. Just like Diego Pop. I was happy he got that extra year.
You sure?
But here's
it went good there, but it could go the other way too, Smitty. Be careful, man.
Hey, I'd rather go down that way. Hey, I'm sorry. Our linebackers might be a little faster this year. Just being real here. Yeah, they may be young and ain't played in the big stage, but we had an experienced team last year. And we got embarrassed a couple of times. At least, hey, let's put the kids in. Can you pay these guys six figures? And we got guys, talented quarterbacks. Tommy Castellanos' best skill is running. It ain't throwing. You got a sister here with two passers and Keelan Russell, who has excellent talent. He has top half of the first round ability. Go with him. We can't be scared to take lumps of young guys. Because all those veterans, people said, well, we got veterans, he's a veteran. They took their lumps as young players as well. What's the point of paying these guys and recruiting them if you never going to get them a shot? And how would that affect future recruiting if you never get a shot to sink or swim because we got to keep looking for the old guy? Sometimes you just got to take a risk. Georgia had a young offensive line last year, younger guys on defensive line. And my favorite line, God forbid young people get better in college football in the It's like people are scared of that, but sometimes you have to take your lumps of young people. And I'd rather take my lumps of young people instead of still trying to kick the old guys around and we know what we got already. Because we know what we got in both ways, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not saying people are bad players, but we watched these linebackers play last year. We weren't the greatest in the world. Defensive line, they had no depth because the injuries hurt them. But even the offensive line, all that experience. And these guys couldn't even pin and pull or get to a second level or get movement. Why not give the young guys a shot? Keep paying these guys.
No, listen, I get it. I think if you have, and this is why staffs are so important, especially at the college level, really at all levels. But you see it on the NFL. At the end of the day, a lot of coaching staffs are built off relationships. We all know that. But that's why it's important to have guys. And on the college level, recruiting is a big aspect, but I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing people move. You still have to be able to recruit really well. But now I feel like there's less. Like before, you were highly valued for being a great recruiter. That still means a lot, but maybe means a little bit less now that money is one of the biggest recruiters of them all. But you got to have dudes that can coach and develop. And I just feel like when you have that, you feel a lot better about letting these young guys play. And unfortunately, I don't think like for example, Coach Cap, I hate to use a person. Great person. I'm sure, things will work out at another spot, but I don't think it was working out well in terms of our development. Not just him, really, even before. A few years prior, I just feel like our offensive line just is not. We've had decent talent. Have we recruited the same type of trench players that we did years prior? No, that is part of the problem. but we've had good enough talent. Last year, that offensive line was good enough. Were they perfect fits for some of the stuff we wanted to do? No, but you also see where coaches are able to adjust and adapt their own system to put those players in the best position to be successful, a la Jalen Milroe in 2024. That probably wasn't the ideal skill set for a quarterback that this staff would have maybe wanted, right? There's nothing wrong with his skill set. Jalen Milroe is a phenomenal football player. But you see the Penix style, the Ty Simpson style, that's a little bit more in their direction. But what did we see? They adjusted and adapted. They ran a lot more quarterback design run. He was a leading rusher, and it worked out well to the point the offense was more successful under Nick Sheridan and Jalen Milroe than it was with Ty Simpson and Ryan Grubb. Those are facts. So I say all that to say, even though the guys we had last year might not have been 100% the best fit, we still should have said, all right, these guys are a little bit more bigger, stronger, powerful guys, maybe don't move as great. We're going to lean into gap scheme. We're going to run power. We're going to run counter. We're going to do what these guys should do well. But here's the thing, Smitty. It seemed like they didn't do anything well. No disrespect to them. I'm just saying from a football perspective. We didn't run gap scheme great. We didn't run zone scheme great. The pin and pull stuff was effective at times, but you get the point. It just, we couldn't really hang our hat on anything. So that's where development comes in. But yeah, I think if Adrian Clem ends up being the answer that we hope he can be, I don't think it's just going to be some immediate fix like people think. They go, we hired Adrian Clem. That means week one, we're going to be much improved. That is not the case in my opinion. But hopefully over the next, and it might be late this year. It might not be till week 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that going to be too late by then? Could be. We'll have to see. It might not be until maybe year 2. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes time, but I do think he'll be a better option than maybe what we had prior.
Well, it took Georgia some games last year with the offensive defensive lines. People got to understand patience, be realistic. But also, we got to look at players sometimes as well. We had a starter left tackle where the Krispy Kreme hot ready sign was talking to him like the Green Goblin mask. Sometimes we got to look at, like, now, your dad was right about Coach Cap day one. I would give him that. I'm glad he ain't here, so I ain't got to eat crow in front of him. But
I ain't gonna lie to you. The people were upset when we hired Coach Cap. He was going in. I was like, relax. He was like, what has this guy done? He has this. I'm like, dude. Give him a chance. I didn't say I was the most confident, but I also knew you got to give somebody their fair shot. You got to give them their fair shot. And he unfortunately was right on that one. But yeah, he's not here, so we'll let it slide.
I'll say this before I run. Thanks for taking my call. I think with this team this year, I think you're going to have young guys. But with the way they set up their team building, a lot of those guys may come back with more experience. I just think that with people got to just be realistic. Well, do I think they're going to win the national title? No. Do I think they have a shot at making the playoff? Yes. But you got to remember with this playoff thing, it's still selective. Field is selected by people. And if you're number 10 in the playoff poll, you're not getting in because you're going to take the conference champions. You got to take a group of 6 now. You got to take that team. So you're in Notre Dame already got a guaranteed spot. So just remember, these people there are people who selected these teams, and it's all about the win-loss record. They don't care about your strength of schedule. Just got to keep that in mind. We got teams like Ohio State playing a tough schedule. They go 9-3, they should be in. Even Alabama, people like that, but all they do is look at the win-loss record. And so until that changes, be careful before people start cussing out coaches and stuff, want people fired. Because remember, Notre Dame got a side deal. And it's all about the win-loss record instead of like trip to schedule.
Well, I mean, that makes a little bit more sense now that they've moved to with the 9 game, I guess. That kind of works the opposite. I was about to say, now that you added that 9, that's why coaches are pretty mad because of what you're saying is that it really does feel really just kind of win-loss based. And with the 9-game conference schedule now that we have in the SEC, they were initially thinking that they were going to have a little bit more, brownie points for playing that tougher schedule, right? Adding an extra conference game, and clearly that's probably not going to be the case. So yeah, that actually doesn't help much. But we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. It's going to be an exciting year for sure. Smitty, I appreciate the call as always, brother.
Have a good one, good brother, and have a good day, everybody in the Miller Edge family.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, my guy. Our guy Smitty on the phone lines. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we wrap things up. We got Ellis. We'll let him close us out right here on this Monday edition.
Legislation now. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message is furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, the week has finally arrived. The longest off-season for 213 days ago, Alabama lost to Indiana. We can finally put that behind us. We'll do that with Drew DeArmond. We'll do that with Martin Houston. And we'll talk to Dave Bartu from CFBMatrix.com as we get you ready for Alabama's first practice. Training camp starts this week right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to...
That's 800-923-6829. What do you have to lose? Call 800-923-6829. Again, 800-923-6829.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Some drier air filtering in, lower humidity this afternoon, sunshine, 89, and a northwest breeze. Clear skies, pleasant weather tonight down to 71. Sunny, warmer tomorrow. A late day shower or storm possible. High tomorrow 92, and we reach 94 on Wednesday. Sunshine, hot temperatures in the forecast. Temperatures stay in the mid-90s in the latter half of the week. Richard Wedding of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 85 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide all the time. This is Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. The home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Seconds as we wrap things up. I feel awful because I know we had Ellis lined up, and unfortunately we ran out of time. But Chase, if you don't mind, maybe just telling Ellis if he wants to hang on and jump on Wyatt's show coming up next. I'm sure Wyatt would be glad to take his call. But Ellis, I promise we'll get to you earlier next time if we can try to squeeze you. And I apologize on my behalf. But that said, let's go ahead and wrap things up because I know we got to get out of here in enough time, give Wyatt plenty of time to get set up. Big thanks to all of our listeners via Tide 100.9, the global app, all of our streaming platforms. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us each and every day as we continue getting you guys ready for football season, officially kicking off really tomorrow as it is report day, then Wednesday, the first practice, man. So we'll be hearing from head coach Kalen DeBoer Wednesday during the show live following their first practice. So it's here, guys. We're here. We're going to be bringing all the football action to you all season long right here on the Miller's Edge. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And that being said, that'll do it for us on this Monday edition. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out if you're watching on any of our streams. Share the videos, all that good stuff. And we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for a Talking Tuesday edition. We'll be joined by Clint Lamb of Bama Online now. New change for Clint. Shout out to Clint. Congratulations on his new role there with Bama Online. We'll talk with Clint tomorrow before we kick training camp off right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.